GTA 6 is coming out, and unless you've totally unplugged from the Matrix at some point in the last 2 years, you already know this because it's almost impossible not to know. People have been counting down the months, watching the same trailers frame by frame, pausing on backgrounds, analyzing details, and building theories about things that haven't happened yet in a game that hasn't been released yet. Some people have already booked time off work, and teenagers are Googling the best diagnosis to keep them out of class for a week straight. And although no one has seen any real gameplay, millions will pre-order regardless of the cost. Countless people have spent real hours of their real lives thinking about a virtual world that doesn't exist yet. But here's the thing. This video isn't about GTA 6. It's about what GTA 6 reveals about us. Because if you zoom out for a second, past the game, past Rockstar, past the trailers, what you're actually looking at is millions of people in a state of pure anticipation, waiting, imagining, preparing, and living, in a very real sense, inside a future that hasn't arrived. And although GTA 6 is this year's example, it's not the first game or thing to trigger this type of behavior. The behavior is much older than that. It's the vacation you've been thinking about since January, the promotion you've been working toward for 3 years, the relationship that's going to fix the loneliness, and the retirement that's going to finally mean freedom. The weekend, the new year, the next chapter. Humans are extraordinarily good at pointing themselves at the future and waiting for it to arrive. The question worth asking is, what does that cost us? There's something genuinely interesting about anticipation as a concept. Because anticipation isn't just waiting, it's active. It does something to the brain. When you're looking forward to something, really looking forward to it, your brain releases dopamine, not when the thing happens, before it happens, during the imagining of it. Which means, in a very literal sense, the brain rewards you for thinking about the future, the game you haven't played yet, the trip you haven't taken yet, the version of your life that doesn't exist yet. Your brain treats the idea of a thing almost as generously as it treats the thing itself, which explains a lot, actually. It explains why people watch the same 2-minute trailer 40 times. It explains why the planning of a vacation is sometimes more enjoyable than the vacation. It explains why the anticipation of a Friday can feel better, emotionally, than the Friday itself. The waiting becomes the entertainment. And somewhere in there, quietly, without anyone deciding to do it, the future starts to feel more real than the present. And this is why GTA 6 has become so interesting. Because beyond the game itself, you have to look at what the game actually represents to the people waiting for it. Because nobody is just waiting for graphics. Well, maybe some people are. But nobody is counting down the days for a new set of mechanics. What they're waiting for is what the game promises: freedom, adventure, novelty, a world with no obligations, no deadlines, no performance reviews, no Monday mornings, a place where you can go anywhere, be anyone, do anything, and none of it follows you home. That's not a gaming impulse. That's a human impulse. And it raises an uncomfortable question. If a fictional open world feels more exciting than your actual life, what does that say about your actual life? Not as a judgment, genuinely as a question. Because the appeal of escapism, whether it's a game, a novel, a fantasy about the future, or a daydream in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon, usually points towards something real, a need that isn't being met, a version of life that feels out of reach, a quiet hunger for something that the present moment isn't delivering. And what happens when that moment is delivered? The game comes out, or the vacation begins, or the promotion happens. Well, something strange occurs. The feeling doesn't land the way you thought it would. Not always, and not completely. There's actually a moment, sometimes hours in, sometimes days in, where the anticipation dissolves, and what's left is just the thing itself. Which is real, and maybe good, and maybe even great. But it doesn't feel like the version you'd been building in your head for 2 years. Because the version in your head had no loading screens, no disappointments, no friction, no reality. The imagined version existed in a space where nothing could go wrong, because nothing in it had actually happened yet. And that's because we humans have this strange habit. Our minds cling to the thought that getting there is going to feel permanent, like there's some finish line where satisfaction finally settles in and decides to stay. Psychologists even have a name for this habit, the Arrival Fallacy. The belief that getting there will feel different, bigger, more permanent, more satisfying than it actually does. But it rarely does. And almost immediately after arrival, people start looking for the next thing, the next game, the next trip, the next goal, the next chapter, as if the present moment is just a waiting room for whatever comes next. So take a step back. It's worth being honest about something here. Anticipation isn't the problem. Looking forward to things is one of the more human things a person can do. It gives shape to time. It creates motivation. It makes life feel like it's going somewhere, because a life with nothing to look forward to is its own kind of emptiness. To be clear, this isn't an argument against excitement or anticipation or caring about things that haven't happened yet. It's more of a question about proportion, about what it means when the future consistently feels more alive than the present, and when tomorrow always seems like where the good part is, when today is mostly just the thing you're getting through to get there. Because most of us know someone like this. Maybe we are someone like this, always in the next thing, always preparing, planning, waiting. The person who spends the whole vacation thinking about coming home, or the whole work week thinking about the weekend, or the whole year thinking about next year. You're never quite here, and always almost there. So here's what GTA 6 actually is. It's not just a game, it's a mirror. It shows us how easily humans attach meaning, happiness, and identity to things that don't exist yet. How quickly we convince ourselves that the next thing is where life finally gets interesting. But the truly interesting thing is this. Some people have spent more time imagining GTA 6 than imagining the next 5 years of their actual lives. How good we are at being present everywhere except the present. Millions of people have spent years looking forward to a moment that, once it arrives, will simply become another present moment they'll eventually move past. And there's something in that pattern worth noticing, and not because anticipation is wrong, but because the present keeps happening whether we're paying attention to it or not. And the years have a way of being made up mostly of those present moments. The ordinary Tuesdays, the unremarkable mornings, the regular version of your life that exists between the things you're waiting for. Maybe the question isn't whether GTA 6 is worth the wait. Maybe the question is how much of your life has quietly passed while you were waiting for something else to begin. Some people never really ask that question. Others, once they do, can't stop thinking about it. Think about how many things you're currently waiting for, really sitting with the anticipation of the trip, the change, the next chapter, whatever it is. And then ask yourself honestly, when was the last time today felt like enough? Drop that in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what comes up. And as always, stay off script.